Good evening and welcome to the January 7th meeting of the Milton School Committee. Happy New Year to everyone. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we do every meeting, we will start with public comment. In accordance with school committee policy, we will welcome members of the community to share their perspectives with us during public comment. We've set aside up to 15 minutes for this part of the meeting, and individuals may speak for up to 3 minutes each. While the school committee does not respond directly to public comment, if there may be opportunities for members to address issues that are raised over the course of the meeting when relevant topics are on our agenda. We strive to engage in respectful discourse during our meetings and ask that the public comment speakers keep that in mind. Speakers should introduce themselves for the record. We don't seem to have anybody in the audience here for it. Is there anybody online? If you are online and you're interested in participating in public comment, if you could raise your hand. Looks like, all right, looks like there's no one. We will continue on. We will begin with the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, Chair Serio. Very happy to be back from winter recess and hope everybody enjoyed a restful winter break as we get ready for the second half of the school year. I just want to begin with some dates that are upcoming for the school district. Tomorrow night, January 8th, we have our preschool night. It's a virtual meeting for all of our upcoming preschool students for the 26-27 school year. Please go on our website. There's a log on link there for you to connect if you would like to find out more about our preschool. On January 9, Milton High School will be hosting the 2026 MMEA East District Music Festival, and we'll be hosting approximately 400 students. And I think I'm taking Elias's good work away because he's in the crowd. He's probably be part of that. We have 400 students, 50 chaperones from surrounding communities of about 30 districts. On January 15th, we have kindergarten information night. This is a great way for us to welcome our new families to Milton Public Schools. And this is the start of a 13-year relationship with families that are entering kindergarten that we hope will stay with the Milton Public Schools from kindergarten all the way through grade 12. Again, that will be a virtual night, so please click on that link and you will be able to attend that as well. Pierce Players will be hosting Anything Goes Thursday, January 22nd, Friday, January 23rd, and Saturday, January 24th. That will happen at the Pierce Auditorium, and we want to make sure that as many folks attend as possible. Our theater program at the high school and our theater program at the middle school are outstanding, so please take advantage of this wonderful event. March 12th is first grade information night. This is for all of our current kindergarten parents and anybody in the community who will be attending first grade next year. We want to make sure that you attend first grade information night. This is an opportunity for everybody to hear about our programs at the elementary level and understand how that process works for being assigned to a program, and all about our wonderful elementary programming in Milton Public Schools. I also want to let folks know that we have seen on the news and probably experienced in our families that it is full-blown flu season. So we want to make sure that everybody knows that if they are not feeling well, to not send their child to school, that we will absolutely get to work and make it up over time for our staff and our families to take care of themselves, wash their hands, and do what they can to make sure that when they come to school, they're healthy. The healthier we are, the more school days we can have and be productive. And for families who do feel like their child's sick, if they can make sure that they keep them home, and we ask staff to do the same thing so we can have a healthy school this school year in January, February. We have 2 student reps attending tonight that we'd like to call to the table. We have Elias Karos and Adam. And Adam and Elias, please come up. We are veterans here at the school committee meetings. We're so thankful for you to be here as student representatives. Adam is a junior and Elias is a senior at Milton High, so welcome. You are veterans now, so please tell us what's all the good stuff happening at Milton High. And again, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Happy New Year. I hope you all enjoyed the holidays. Some exciting things are ongoing at the high school. We have begun our AP information sessions, and these will run through the 23rd of January. This is an opportunity for students to learn more about the advanced placement course offerings at the high school. These information sessions are often, an excitement for both students and teachers as they get to meet one another and discuss some of the expectations and rigor of these courses. Elias and I, we both have experience with them. And of course, course registration will occur after February break, which will give students and their parents, their families, an opportunity to decide what courses best will help them reach their goals, both at Milton High School and afterwards. The end of our academic term will be January the 26th, but I'm sure you all know that. And you can celebrate by seeing our winter play, which will be hosted January 30th and 31st. It's a 2-act series.
Thank you, Adam. I would like to begin with our music department. It's after the holidays, after our concerts, but we still have a lot of fun activities and events going on. Actually, just this weekend, on the 9th and the 10th of January, on Friday and Saturday, we will be hosting the Senior Districts Festival. It is wonderful to engage with the broader music community in the region throughout Greater Boston, and it is overall a celebration of all of our hard work as music students, and we seek to bring a lot of joy to our community through art and music. So if you're around on Saturday and you can come to the high school, that they're doing a performance there, it would be wonderful to check out. Also upcoming is our Sweetheart Dance. It's going to be held for all 4 grades at Milton High School in the field house at the week before February break. And that too will be a fun celebration of our hard work as students before we get to rest again. I know we just rested, but 6 weeks of straight school and then going on to the break, that will be a fun event that we haven't done throughout the past few years, and it would be a great fundraising opportunity as well. And then we try to meet as a small group every month, and we haven't been doing so lately, or we haven't done it since our last meeting. So we don't have any updates regarding the issue with the phone policy, but then we will update you soon at the next meeting after we will have met as a group.
Very good. Thank you very much. I forgot to mention that we have winter sports have started at the high school as well. And some of the highlights are boys basketball is 6-2. I was able to get to a game over the break. Girls basketball is 4-4. I was able to get to one of those games over the break. Boys hockey is 4-1. And our incredible girls hockey team is 6-1. Ski team is 0-0. They haven't had a match yet. Boys indoor track is 0-2. Girls indoor track is 1-1. And wrestling is 2-4. So there's a lot going on between music, theater, clubs, activities, AP, athletics. The high school's a busy place, so we're really happy that good stuff is happening at Milton High School.
Awesome. Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
You guys are the best.
Absolutely.
Great.
Any questions for our all-star students at Milton High?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year as well.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. The next thing on the superintendent's report is the 26-27 calendar discussion. This item was on the agenda in December. First and foremost, we wanted to highlight to the community that the holiday rotation dates will be different in the following school year than they are in the current year. That's a policy that was set in place last year. But one of the discussions that we are going to have as a school committee that will be an executive session is with this change in policy comes with the need to impact bargain some of the dates and holidays that are in our collective bargaining agreements. So before we move forward with anything related to the calendar, in the upcoming weeks, we will be meeting tonight in executive session connected to this work and working out some of the details with our union. So for the public asking questions about when school's going to start, what does the calendar look like, we hope to be able to bring that to you with more detail at the upcoming meetings. And we will be breaking early tonight for an executive session in order to keep that work moving forward. I would also like to present to you, we have a presentation that was going to be presented by Dr. F.A. Shavers, our Director of DEIB. She had a family emergency. She was with us all day at work today and had to leave early for an emergency. She's fine, her family's fine, but she was not able to be here. I did not want to steal her thunder, but I really wanted to express a good news story that she has been working on, that she can certainly come back to the school committee and provide this highlight as well as the other work that she's doing this year. We are very excited to, and I don't know, Mark, if we want to put this on the screen, if that's okay. I'll go through it quickly, but just so the community sees the presentation. Thank you very much. In the next slide, Dr. Shavers and I met back in August, and one of her primary goals, not her only goal, but one of her primary goals on slide 2 was to increase the amount of diverse staff in the Milton Public Schools, 10% from the previous 24-25 school year, and also decrease the attrition rate of our staff of color who may be leaving the district. Her strategy for that includes some of the work that she's been doing on the next slide, which is staff of color affinity group, staff book club for all staff to participate in. We have joined the Teachers Lounge job portal, which is a portal that helps diversify district's teaching staff, and also began the work on having equitable hiring practices and training for all of our hiring agents within the Milton Public Schools. That big picture work will be supported by a grant that Dr. Shavers applied for and successfully received from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. The grant itself is the FC0253. Only DESE can have a wonderful name for a grant like FC0253, Transforming Diverse Educator Pathways Grant from DESE. It was up to $75,000. We were awarded 73, which is a very high amount. This grant will allow us to support our Unit D staff who currently work in Milton. Those are paraprofessionals that we would like to move into the Unit A or teaching and professional licensure roles if they have a desire to do so. That could be as a teacher, as a social worker. It could just be providing them access to coursework, etc. We feel it's very important to not only hire a diverse staff, but also cultivate the staff that we have and create a pathway for educators who come in through the paraprofessional and Unit D employment. We know their character, we know who they are, we know they're good people, they've been working with us. It's only to our benefit and their benefit to mutually invest in each other and invest in who they are. So we have already contacted those folks. FA has a meeting on Friday to follow up. But what this grant does is it allows us to provide funding for different pathways for them to access higher education, licensure, test taking, licensure courses. The cost reimbursement towards becoming a professional educator would include course tuition, professional development costs, books and pertinent resources, certification expenses, MTEL prep courses, exam fees, licensure fees, anything that gets in the way monetarily of someone who is working with us that might be able to, if we can break down that barrier, they can access an additional pathway to becoming a licensed educator. We have about, I think, 18 people who are taking part in this work. Katie Blake, our assistant superintendent for Finance has been working with FA to organize the approach of making sure that we have an approval process for how this works, so that the cost is a reimbursement, and that the funds are organized and provided in a way that's ensuring that the work has been taking place. And all of the things on the screen that you see as ways that we're going to provide pathway opportunities and cost support to our employees are part of the DESI expectations. This is all approved by DESI, and we'll find our way to make sure we do it in a customized way in Milton. This is a great news story. We have been talking with DESI for a long time as superintendents to try to create pathways for students in high school to undergrad to becoming teachers in the barriers. And I think that this grant opportunity for all districts across the state is DESI's way of listening to superintendents and school districts that this might be a good way to diversify staff. So we're thankful to the Department of Elementary Secondary Ed, but we're more importantly thankful to Dr. Shavers for applying for the grant, taking the time to do so, and not taking the time to meet. This work will also come with some mentoring funds, so we can have licensed professionals in the area that our unit team members are seeking to take a pathway towards. We'll have support of a licensed professional in that field. So if I want to become a guidance counselor, we'll hire a mentor guidance counselor for the year to help them gather some information, walk them through the process. If it's an English teacher, if it's whatever role, we want to be able to provide support to them. So part of the funds will be expended on existing licensed professionals in Milton, supporting that unit team member with that pathway towards licensure. So this is all really, really good news for our staff. In securing the grant, we will be able to continue investing in-house and showing the commitment to our current staff. This not only creates a new way to diversify staff, but it also retains our staff of color who are not in the licensed area of our work, but in the paraprofessional. FA has been working in different ways with our staff of color and also our staff who are not non-minority in order to show. The book club is a great example. The book club is across all groups and is focusing on how we support children. They're working on a novel, reading through it, asking questions. And again, these are great activities that our staff are doing voluntarily to learn together to make sure that we're creating a place in Milton Public Schools that all staff want to stay, especially our staff of color, which we're trying to increase every year, and will continue to do so. So very much thank you to Dr. F.A. Shavers, and she will come back at another point in time and talk about the other work that she's doing this year as well. Any questions about the grant?
I don't have questions about the grant, but I just, I really appreciate the focus in this being kind of an effort that FA is taking this year. I'd be interested in seeing some data just on what our current demographics are within Unit A. Also, you mentioned kind of attrition and like what are those metrics, just assuming that this is kind of our baseline. You mentioned kind of improving it by 10% or whatever that metric was. Just kind of, yeah, but some data about kind of current state to help us be able to see its improvement happening as this grant.
Perfect. Yeah, she had in the slides earlier that her goal is 10% increase from the 24-25 school year. That's her baseline, so we can provide that data or any other kind of data for sure.
The grant is for the current fiscal year, right? So the work that's being stipended and so forth and reimbursed is taking place this winter, spring to be paid out by June 30th,
Correct.
probably. And so then it's the 10% goal. So if you have 18 people so far participating in this, then would the idea be that some of those folks might be ready to kind of move into hiring, like applying for open positions for next year, for example, where others might be on a pathway that's like perhaps more extended? Is that?
I think most of the folks will be on pathways that are more extended.
Okay.
We'd like to see all these folks take the communication literacy TEL just to get on ELAR, get in, plugged in with DESI to begin that. So that actually is very helpful. But some of these folks are on longer pathways. This is a shot in the arm to get people up and running and feeling appreciated and valued. But this is probably only part of what they need in order to continue their work. And so If there is a 2.0 of this grant, we would obviously apply. We could demonstrate some of our data, show what we did with the funds that were given to us, and hopefully if there was a successor grant, we would apply for it and try to continue the work. The timing is really hard. The grant came out late.
That's what,
So now
yeah.
we're trying to expend
That's another
$73,000
thing,
in
yeah.
5 months. So that's not a timing that we were in control of, but we certainly didn't want to not apply because, geez, that's going to be a quick turnaround. Let's get the funds, let's help as many people as we can, let's get them up and running, and then we'll take this as a step one and try to continue and extend the work moving forward.
And then meanwhile, like the teacher's lounge sort of is another strategy that might be more directly impactful for next year, bringing
Yeah.
new folks in.
So the Teachers Lounge is does two things. It provides a great affinity space for folks. You can log in, it can be remote, or you can go downtown to meet folks in person. We will post we have been and will continue to post all of our jobs within the Teachers Lounge, which has an extensive, diverse community of active job seekers. So we're hoping that is the major lever that we have in increasing our percentage of our staff of color, combined with the training for our hiring agents and just really thinking about how we post jobs, where we post them, what kind of questions are we asking in interviews, how are we representing ourselves to job seekers of color to make sure that they know that we're a place that's friendly to work, that we have efforts being made to retain staff of color, that we're involved in things. So the two biggest levers I think that will influence our hiring for next year will be the Teachers Lounge and the training that we provide our in-house staff in order to have a more, clear and open and intentful targeted work and hiring for next year.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
A couple of things. First of all, congrats on the grant, and let Dr. Shavers know congratulations as well. One specific question, does all of the funds have to be expended this year, but does all of the things that it is funding have to be done this year? For example, could someone sign up for a test and pay for a test and be reimbursed for a test if the test doesn't happen until next year? Or do all of the tests and courses and everything have to be done this calendar year? That might just be a way to, if it's the former, that might be a way to smooth out the expenditure so that you're not in this compressed thing where I would just hate for people to rush to take tests that they're not prepared to take yet. So it's just a thought. And then the other one is, I agree with Mark. I'd appreciate some numbers here. But increasing retention can be a long and winding road. And it strikes me that these two goals of increasing the amount of diverse staff and decreasing overall attrition are in tension with each other. Right? If you were to drive attrition down to zero, there would be no space left to increase diverse staff. And I think it's okay to have both of those goals. But there's like a little bit of a thing that they're kind of bumping up against each other. And depending on what the attrition rate is and where it exists, it is also possible that these 18 folks could be trained as teachers and they go off to be amazing teachers, not in our district, which is okay too, because we all collectively need to get better teachers out there. That's what the state's interested in doing. So that's just like a thought on the design of the goals. But that said, I think, from my experience, I think there's research on this, that employees who believe that their employers are invested in their career growth are going to be better at their jobs. They're going to be higher performing, more engaged. So I'm really glad that we're doing this. Just even if, and I don't think this is true, but even if all of the benefits accrue to us in the short term, just through higher performance and more engagement, it's worth it. But I think it'll extend beyond that, of course.
I agree. I will relay the feedback to FA when she returns, and we'll work on that data, and we'll have that as probably an enclosure for folks at a future meeting in the packet. You're welcome.
So for the chair's report, I just wanted to follow up, excuse me, thank you, Lizzie, for covering for me last time. I wanted to follow up on the community engagement discussion. So I know there was conversation around the idea of a PTO liaison. And I went back and I connected a little bit with Lizzie and read through the minutes. And I think one of the things to be clear is the goal is not necessarily to add more meetings to our calendar, recognizing that everybody has them, but really finding the opportunity, to have another touch point with the community in a way that allows us to kind of hear what's going on with the schools, have the PTO know that there's somebody that they can reach out to about, if they have questions about what the school committee is doing or things that they want to share. So it's really providing for that communication. And then at the appropriate time, if there's a meeting that works with their calendar or that there's an important one that they think that we should go to, then to have somebody attend. So the goal is definitely not to further fill up people's calendars, but really just to provide that opportunity. I think one of the comments as well had been that maybe having people be a liaison to a school that's not their child's is a good idea too. I think we probably know a lot about the schools that our kids are in, but also I think maybe it removes any kind of perceived conflict, but it also just gives you the opportunity to learn more about what is going on within the district. So I don't know if there was further discussion that you guys wanted to have about that, if that's something that we want to talk about moving forward with, and if so, determining, we can then sort of almost like randomly assign people to the committees. So I don't know if there was more thought around it, if there's something you want to.
Happy to try it out. I think it's a good
Yeah.
idea. I think, happy to be assigned. a committee.
Yeah, or if there's a, yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Do we need to vote on that, or can we just move forward with that as a mission? I don't think we need to vote on it, do we? I don't think so. How about we just, no, so we'll agree moving forward that if is everybody comfortable with that? Is there any concerns? So we can just find a way to randomly assign people. If you would just, maybe, because I don't know, if you want to send to me the school that your child goes to, so then we can figure it out. And from there, that would be probably helpful to do. Or if you have a school that you have a preference for, feel free to raise your hand.
They don't, but they have an active site council. And maybe just being a liaison to that group could be helpful. Just letting them know that if they have any questions.
Excellent. And then the second thing, I know that we talked a bit about process for doing the sort of the meeting recap that will go into the newsletters. This is just my feeling, if people can weigh in separately. I'm not sure that it's something that requires everybody to sort of approve before it goes out, if we're really just kind of recapping decisions, votes, discussions, and then providing the community with where they can find that discussion. I think that might take some of the, sort of the burden out of the effort. So if people are comfortable with that, and right now we talked about maybe, possibly having it go to different people. I'm happy to just do it if, kind of do it after the meetings, and then if it seems like a lot, I can raise my hand and say, could somebody else take it a week, or we rotate it, but I'm fine to do that if it's, I just think that trying to find a way to rotate it might be also more difficult. But so if people are okay with that and that we can just move forward and say, recognize that that's what it's going to be, it's just that recap, facts, not editorializing really anything, and then just sharing it with the community, I think that might expedite the process. Thoughts, concerns on that? Sighs of relief that they don't have to do it. Well, I was thinking about it like, for the others of you who are chairs for other meetings, you're doing the meeting minutes and all that, and I'm not doing that, so I'll think this is my version of that. Until if it seems like a lot and needs to rotate, but otherwise I'm happy to do it. So,
Thank you. Yeah,
You're welcome.
let us know if.
Yeah. Yeah, I will. I'll definitely reach out. So that was it for the chair's report. We will move on to the finance committee, subcommittee report.
Great. Finance Subcommittee met this morning. We met with the town administrator, director of finance for the town, and the two members of the select board who are on the select board finance committee. The town administrator shared some slides, similar to kind of what we talked about in December. We're not going to present town administrator slides because they're not our slides, but I did put them in they're in the finance meeting folder and then also in the school committee meeting folder tonight. Sorry, they were added late. We received them late. So the
People watching the meeting now could watch the recording of this morning's meeting if they want to see those slides.
Yes, yeah, yes, the meeting is recorded and available online. It will be available online once MATV posted. The overall picture is not a positive one. Revenue forecasts are low, and expense forecasts are coming in above revenue forecasts kind of across the town. The current gap that the town administrator has identified is about $2.5 million in terms of the gap between what the revenue forecasts are and what the level service expense forecasts are. We obviously, as a committee, provided our level service budget to the town, which is the 5.2% that we've discussed previously. Town departments, consolidated facilities, all those things did as well. One slight driver of this is health insurance. It was a driver last year, it's a driver this year. Right now, they're estimating around a 10% increase. But honestly, one of the takeaways we had out of the meeting this morning is that even without that, there just continues to be a disconnect between, I think, what the town was projecting would be reasonable kind of percent increases and what they're able to fund kind of on an annual basis based on Prop 2.5 and other projected revenue increases, and what kind of a more traditional school budget increase is. I think Katie and John shared kind of Milton's budget numbers over the past 10 years-ish, and they're come in about 5% a year. That is pretty standard in Milton over the last 10 years. So our current budget is not out of line of that. It's obviously significantly less than the last 2 years for various reasons. So that's disappointing. Currently, the town administrator has shared with us that they are proposing a 2.34% increase across all town departments and school departments, which is obviously almost 3% less than our level service budget, and that would represent about a $2 million cut to our level service budget. Conversations are still ongoing. They were, again, it was positive is the right word, but open dialogue and kind of back and forth and answering questions and just trying to get a sense of where they're at, where we're at. So appreciate the town administrator's time, select board members' time. Certainly the door's not closed on kind of those discussions. But that was the initial direction from the town to kind of move forward and find those cuts. John and Katie are scheduling meetings with members of the school department, principals, and other leadership team members to start that work of finding cuts and working through that to then bring back to us for further discussion. And then, from the town side, they said they will look at their revenue projections, and there is discussion on just the override stabilization fund. Right now, the current numbers include using $700,000 of that. There's a conversation if more should be used, less should be used, things like that. So there's just ongoing kind of conversations. It was raised at the meeting, I think rightly, that we don't have a lot of time, both within the budget cycle and within, if we need to reduce roles, we need to notify staff to give them the opportunity to find additional positions elsewhere. So those are things we'll need to be working through with some urgency. Those are the overall highlights. John.
I would say from the administrative team's work, and I'll also let Katie weigh in as well. The town has been a good partner to the schools over time. We really value the dialogue today. There is a concern that if 3% is the annual growth of a school district over time, that's not a very sustainable percentage increase. But that's a discussion that we can have in the long term. We have a long-term group meeting now, and that this will now be part of that conversation, which I think is really going to be really important as it relates to the process that the school department will take in order to complete the task of reducing up to $2 million worth of positions. We already met with our principals this morning from 11 to almost 1:30, identifying positions, talking about different roles that we can realign, how we can support some reductions and what kind of services we can redeliver and how that would work in order to try to keep our service delivery to students at a high level. This will be about a month's worth of work. Given the time frame that we have, we want to be thoughtful and reflective about the reductions that we make to try to reduce the impact on students. But this will be, I consider this task to be a 2-year task. The FY27 budget will have to be looked at in a very close way, in a thoughtful way, and reduced. And we want to make sure that we're structuring the FY28 budget in a very constructive way, given the potential that we may have some revenue concerns next year as well. We want to position the district as best we can to serve the students that we have. We will be sending out a notification to all staff tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. to let them know. We will also be sending out an email to all of our families tomorrow at 2 p.m. to let them know. It's not lost on me that last year was a very challenging year for the school community and the town related to budget and worries and concerns and layoffs. So we want to be very thoughtful about how we manage this process, the work that needs to be done, the communication that needs to be done, the understanding the human part of this, the human element of this with our staff, and also with our families who went out and voted for an override in the spring and are now facing reductions within a year later, which is going to be a real there'll be a good effort to make sure that we're communicating well, being transparent. So given this information was cemented this morning at 8 a.m., we've already met once with our leadership team. We've already communicated with our union leaders. We will communicate with all staff tomorrow. We will communicate with all families. We will be proactively making sure that we are transparent with everything that we're doing. For instance, what did you know and when did you know it? We knew today that $2 million is actually the number that folks are focusing on. So we are getting that information out the following day. We want to make sure that despite the fact that this might be a challenging environment, that we do it in a way that people feel informed, respected and valued, but more importantly, that they have voice in some of this work and that they're not caught by surprise. Because I think this in and of itself will feel like they're caught by surprise. So now that we know where our situation stands, and if there's any reduction in that gap of 2 million to something lower than that, we'll be prepared to go up to 2 if we need to, but we gladly see a reduction as a very favorable thing that we would be able to maybe take 2 years to begin this process instead of doing everything in 1 year. So I appreciate the town administrator, the town accountant, and the select board listening today, partnering today, and I'm hoping that discussion can continue and we can round that 2 million down to a lower number. But we will be communicating. I encourage everybody in the community to go to the Milton Public Schools webpage where we have a budget, an FY27 budget page already up and running. It has all of our meetings, it has all the broadcasts, it has all the agenda items, all the material that's there from our meetings that started in September. We will continue to populate that actively for every meeting that we have. And we want to make sure that the town is aware and the families are aware that I will be providing a role of advocate for the schools, but also fiscally responsible to the town. And that's going to be a hard line to walk for all of us on the administrative side, but we will continue to advocate, but also be good fiscal partners. The difference between this year and last year is there is no override at the end of this year to shoot for in order to change the outcome of this situation. The revenue is the revenue, the expenses are the expenses, and we need to begin to right-size the district that fits the revenue capacity of the town. I'd like to be able to do that over time, but we will continue to work with our town partners to create flexibility around that moving forward.
Yeah, just to echo that, the takeaway, like a 2.34% budget increase in any year is a cut budget. There's no way of us operating with the cost of special education, transportation, collective bargaining agreements, things like that. There's no way for the school department to kind of sustain that. So it's a significant short-term issue and also a long-term issue for the town of how do we not, that was discussed partly at the meeting, is just how do we create sustainable expectation around available program for students and families and staff year over year, not have jumps and then cuts kind of year after year until the next override. Like that is not a sustainable way to run a system. And so we need to be able to do better on those long-term projections and how we're planning this out, to John's point, kind of over time, being able to see down the road. It's not something that clear thus far, but again, appreciate the start of the conversations. We're just gonna have to move a little bit quickly. Anything other members?
I'll say a couple of things just while we're talking to each other and talking to the public. Just to go back to, what were we talking about? MCAS data? We're comparing ourselves to our peer districts. I think it's just important to remind Milton that we stand apart from our peer districts in the level of finances that our town has chosen to allocate to our schools. It is lower. And so, you know, we can have an override every few years, but we are choosing as a town to put less money than we probably should into the education of our kids. And that connects to, you know, we submitted a level services budget, which we did. And, you know, the school district delivers an amazing education to our kids. But level services means 28, 30 kids in first grade classrooms. It means part-time interim assistant superintendents leading the academics of our district. That's what level services is in Milton. And I am not satisfied with that, and I don't think the town should be. So, you know, I don't know. I don't want to, we have to accept the reality of this year, but I personally don't accept that this has to be our future indefinitely. Like, I think we can choose as a town to fund our school district properly. So just, you know, and it might be 4 years, 7 years till we have the next override. I don't know. If we're going down this path of, you know, 2 to 3% increases every year, you know, that's a not very good news outlook for our district. But I think we have to have, if the override is 5 years away, we need to have conversations about the financial position of the district today, so that we and the people who come after us and the town continue to recognize like what we're sacrificing. So anyway, a little bit of a soapbox, but I think it's an important, I feel passionate about that.
Any questions from members?
I just had a question about the free cash number for FY26. There's like, because usually like, I feel like that kind of comes in a little bit later. Is that
They have, the free cash is estimated or certified, I think, at 4.5, 4.5. So that number is there. Free cash, obviously part of it will go towards capital, part of it will go to some other things that's already committed. And Select Board has a new free cash policy where they're going to retain 10% of it, not allocate it to anything a little bit over. So policy, we're not using free cash for the to fund the operating
Yeah.
budget, but
Yeah.
they could use it to invest in certain reserve accounts or other things that then kind of remove pressures from the operating budget. So that there are ways in which free cash could be allocated. The current projections don't essentially assume any use of free cash to address any of those. So that's
Yeah.
as like we left the meeting, some of the work that the town administrator was going to look into of how could that, help to kind of smooth some of the rough edges here, but that is likely, there's no world in which kind of the $2 million gap that they're asking the schools to cut is going to be funded by free cash allocation. It would be kind of a little bit here or there that might reduce the impact to kind of our amount. So a lot more work to do. We have another finance committee meeting next week, and as John said, I assume John and Katie will be talking to the town more, but we're also going to try and get back with the town administrator, the select board here in a couple weeks as they have time to do some of their work, time to do some of our work, and put heads back together to see how we address this challenge. Again, I very much agree, John, with your point of this disappointing news, I'm sure, for many people who spent a lot of time kind of working to save positions, provide schools the financial resource they needed through the override process last spring, and then for us to be here, it's not great.
See, one thing I do.
Disappointing is mild word.
Right.
Disappointing is mild.
I just would like to say too, though I appreciate, John, the transparency, and not waiting to share any of this information, not waiting to see if there's a better picture or a better scenario. This is what we know today. The reality is, if it's a few $100,000 less, it's not, is there something within that that's a possibility? There are, discussing options to kind of, as you said, dull the edges of it, if we can get if free cash can be allocated to some one-time expenses. But I think recognizing the reality of the situation and just moving forward and trying to address it sooner rather than later, and being transparent with the community about it, I think is really important, and I appreciate you doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, we want to make sure that we're open with our staff first and foremost, and obviously the community who voted and invested in the town. And we're well aware that this is going to be hard for folks to hear, especially from the staff side of things. So we want to just be open, honest, and get the work done, but also be sensitive to the fact that this will be something that we're going to have to work through folks with. But having the information in people's hands is exactly what they need. That's the right of the community and the voters and our staff. Everybody should know what we know, and we keep the work moving.
Questions or comments on the budget update? All right, then I will just provide notice that vendor warrant number 27 in the amount of $846,610.55 was signed and approved today. I don't think I've forwarded it to y'all yet, though, so I will do that. And then also, just as an update, next meeting is the Q2 report.
21st.
So potentially at our next school committee meeting, then we'll have the Q2 finance report to share.
Thanks, Mark. School building committee update?
Yes. What, do we have a meeting? Didn't have
I do have an update, though. The school building committee met briefly to discuss how we wanted to approach the MSBA with an alternative set of enrollment numbers. Created some questions from the group that were sent over to the MSBA. And then a subsequent meeting was set up that Sean attended on behalf of the committee, where he explained the rationale behind our thinking that the enrollment should be higher than what the MSBA has provided. We got an email back from the MSBA that they would receive that and discuss it. They did. We were very quickly given a response that their numbers is what they're going to stick with. That's not a surprise. The MSBA has an extensive enrollment department where they kind of cultivate what they think is an appropriate enrollment number for every district with all the elements that we provided them. We knew that we were probably going to be not shut down, but that MSBA number would be the one that was chosen in the end, so it was. We got a formal enrollment document that will be signed by the chair of the select board, and then that document will then be given to Amanda and I to be signed by the superintendent, the chair of the school committee. We will vote that number at our next meeting. That has to be a vote of the select board and a vote of the school committee, so that will be on our agenda for the next week, or for the next meeting on the 21st. And it'll be submitted by the Friday, the 23rd, to the MSBA, which puts us on schedule for our module and our next meeting at the MSBA being on time. So our kind of challenging of the number didn't cost us any time because it was within the window to do so. So we will move to our first meeting with the MSBA, I think in February, to talk about module 1 and 2 and what the next steps are for the district moving forward with the building project process. So we will have another update on that next meeting on here at our school committee meeting and voting.
And just a little additional context, just to remind folks that the importance of the enrollment number is that is the reimbursement number, but that's tied into how much funding we get from MSBA for the project. So that, and once it's locked in, it is not something that is like been discussed further, which is why they require votes. So that is why the number was discussed, why we weren't far off on the number, but we discussed trying to push back and gain any ground we could because there are financial implications. If we're able to get a higher enrollment for the building, then we can be bigger and can cover kind of the cost, they give us more money. So that was the purpose. Yeah, through the MSBA.
Is that sort of a common, I mean, it would make sense that pretty much every district then would try to revise up the number for that reason. Is this a common?
So the history was that districts would really amp up and get their own demographer and come with a plan and engage the MSBA in high-level debate about the number. And over time, the MSBA has just invested in their own demography department and do their own enrollment. So whatever the town, they asked the town for certain information, which we all provided, building permits, how many students we have, how many families, what's the exit, how old is the person when they sell their house, how old are they when someone buys a house. There's a lot of different metrics for that. So they pretty much know after we provide our data what their enrollment will be. So it used to be a much more challenged subject, but right now they have all their work done in-house, and so, but we decided to push back just in case. To Mark's point, it's money and it's square footage. Every enrollment, every student means more square footage and more money in reimbursement. So it was worth the pushback. We didn't lose any time, didn't lose any ground. We're in the same spot moving forward.
Can I ask a question about the enrollment numbers? Do those, I think I've asked this before, do those take into account new builds? Do they project out, so if there's something going in East Milton Square?
Yes.
They have a calculation for like 1, 2, is that the way they do that?
We gave them all the building permits for all the projects that are going on in the town, and all the 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedrooms, how many units were going in. All those permits were given to us by the town side and the planning department, and so they had all that information.
So once it's permitted, they can count it?
They counted everything that we gave them.
Great.
There was an adjustment for those new building projects that were coming online. And they show the adjustment actually in the data they provided us.
Just to name the number is 660 with the other records is what they got. And I think we were working with Arrow Street, the enrollment projection number was 670. So that 10 students is what we were going against. So again, we're not talking like 100 kids or anything. It was a little bit around the margins, but we thought it was discussed that worth asking. There's no harm in trying to push back again.
Anything else? That's it? Okay. Great. The next item is approval of the minutes. If we could take them separately, because I was here on one, but not for the other. So we had 2 sets of minutes in the folder to approve. I believe they were 11/19 and 12/17. Take a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of November 19th, 2025 for the school committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of December 17th, 2025 for the school committee.
Okay, second.
All in favor? I'm going to abstain. All right, great. The next item is the meeting draft agenda items for the next meeting. So I have the, would we have 2026? Would we discuss the calendar of the next meeting?
I think we should have it there as a
Have just
placeholder.
hold it, just
Yeah.
in case. I have committee reports. I have the Q2 finance report will be part of the finance meeting. We have the enrollment data to be voted on as part of the school building committee update. We'll have, so committee updates will be finance, facilities, policy, capital. Is there an MFE meeting now? No. You can get back to me if you don't know.
I don't know. That would be after the
After.
21st.
Okay. I don't have your list in front of
So
me.
I have, for the 21st Q2 update, the budget, the vote for the school committee, the school building committee, MSBA enrollment. We have, we have a curriculum update that we may give on the 21st, but we may go into 2-4. We have some heavy meetings coming up for program of studies, community schools, student services update, curriculum update from Carla, early literacy updates coming up in February. Our data, our mid-year district data review is coming up in February, so we have some meteor meetings coming up moving forward.
So we'll enjoy the light ones while we have them. All right, is there anything else? All right. So if, we have to adjourn this meeting and then open, and then adjourn to executive session, correct? So,
Not to return.
not to return, right. So could I have a motion to adjourn? Correct.
So I think it's a motion, the motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining strategy with the Milton Educators Association and AFSCME, and to adjourn directly from the executive session, not to return to open session.
This would be a roll call.
Second.
And roll call vote.
Second.
Yep. Nathan?
Yes.
Lizzie?
Yes.
Bob? Yes. Anna?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Great. We'll adjourn to executive session.